Welcome back, Commanders. It's Frostbite. Look, y'all, around here, we don't just teach you what works, we teach you why it works. Today, I am going back to the basics. By the end of this video, if it's one thing I hope you understand, it will be what your base is about, what your buildings do, why it's important, and how it fits into your long-term growth. So let's get right to it. This is your base. As you can see, one thing, my base is meticulously organized. Why, you might ask? Well, I find it to be, number one, I'm OCD and I like my stuff in order. And number two, when we look at this game and all the different buildings and structures and things, if you do not have an organized base, everything's just chaotic, you got buildings everywhere and it's all mixed and jumbled, there's a good chance you're going to forget something. And it's hard to get into a routine on a daily basis to know what you're supposed to do on what days if you're constantly having to scroll through like, all right, where did I put this? Where did I put that? So let's start with, what is your base? Your base is your command center. All right, your command center. Every upgrade, battle, troop, hero, everything that you do starts here. This is the world, right? We know that this is our world map, all this kind of stuff. We'll go over that later, but essentially, this is your base. Now, the center, the heart, the main part of your base is your headquarters. Now, your headquarters does a lot of different things. For those of you who are just starting, you might be level 5, you might be level 7, 10, whatever it may be. And then you may be already, higher levels. Some of you may even be watching this that are already past 30. And I hope that everybody that watches this channel, that takes the time out of their day to watch these videos, even if you already know everything we're talking about, like the video, share the video, comment things that you might think of that I left out, that I didn't think of. But let's get into the headquarters. Headquarters offers different types of things. You have, it unlocks your different level troops. It unlocks different kind of buildings, research, new content, things that you typically would not have. You're going to have in this, basically by upgrading headquarters. There are guides that you can find online that, shows you what upgrades, are required prior to upgrading your headquarters. For example, we spoke about in a different video, if you have to get to, to get to HQ 30, you have to have like a level 30 tech center and a level 30 this. And it's important that you're using your multiple different builds. If you haven't bought them, that's fine. You're just going to be in a slower pace game. If you do buy them, I recommend it. If you can, splurge a little bit, get these extra builds. They're going to make your game faster. You're upgrading faster. Everything's just going to be better and faster. But don't just idly click buildings and upgrade them. Upgrade with purpose. Upgrade toward, if you're building your level 21, go ahead and be using these extra builds to upgrade, the next step that you're going to need for 22, 23. That way you're always a step ahead of the game. So that's where your headquarters are. Then you're going to have your builder's hut. If you look right here, you've got this little builder's hut. Now my builder's hut, I didn't completely push too much. I always try to get it to a decent level, but essentially what this is one of the very best early investments you can build. Build it up, keep it up until you're starting to really start to push from like 21 to 24, 24 to 25 or 27, and then 27 to 30. Might be a little bit harder to keep this one up because there's so many other things that you need to be investing in. But basically, this is what keeps your construction moving. You get a free 2 hour, 36 minutes on this particular level, and the higher you get that, the better it's going to be. Then you have your research centers. Y'all, the research tech centers are probably the most important building that you can just about have outside of your headquarters. This is going to be all of your different tech trees, and you're going to go in and you're going to be able to max out different things. Your special forces is how you're going to be able to get to your T10s. Everything in this setup is screaming for growth. It screams potential. It screams power. whether you're mastering your heroes, or whatever it is that you're doing. Also, most every single headquarters upgrade is going to require you to have this tech center up to the next level. Do not waste your time doing both. If you notice, one is at level 18, one is a level 30. You only need one at level 30. You do not have to do both. Then you're going to look over here at your barracks. Y'all, the barracks is also very important. And again, you're going to tier these like waterfalls. And if you don't know what the waterfall method is, basically assuming, basically what you're doing is you're using this to be able to train your troops at a lower level. And you can train all at level 5 or level 6, whatever your waterfall tier is. You can train all your troops at that level. And then you can actually upgrade your troops from level 6 to level 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, or whatever tier you're in. And you just do it a lot faster. Typically, instead of it being 17 hours or whatever, you're only upgrading them to different levels. And that comes really as a very important aspect in VS, especially on on Friday when you're building troops. That is major points. If you're struggling to hit your VS points on that day, which we'll break down VS in another video, that's extremely important as well. So your barracks is essentially where you're going to be training and promoting your troops. Y'all, you always want something going. Don't leave this idle. Okay, these buildings, they're there for a reason. Your hospitals. Hospitals heals troops and protects your power during battle. I know a lot of people don't understand that, but if you click on one of your hospitals, it's got a hospital capacity. While you do need to get these up, and I am slacking a little bit on my hospitals just because I've been fast tracking a lot of different things. But hospitals will hold troops that need healing and all that. So let's just say that I've got like my hospital slap full and I got 6,000 troops in the hospital. My power is not going to show that those troops are in the hospital, and then I can heal them at any time. So essentially somebody may come at me like, okay, this is a 96 power. Realistically, full trooped out, I'm probably closer into the 115 to 120-ish range. I just look like I'm a lot less stronger than I actually am. So it can be a strategic tool. It's also a really good way to have more troops on reserves. So if you fill your troops up and you get your whole troop base filled up, go ahead and fill up, some hospitals and stuff, at probably like 75, 80% of the way, and then go ahead and train those troops back to fill up those grounds. That way, when you go into battle before war and you do lose a bunch of troops all of a sudden, you can instantly restock those troops that you've died off, and it just kind of keeps you in the battle a little bit longer. So those are the little tricks that you can use. Your garages, y'all, these are going to be these 3 to 4. Some of you have 3, some of you have 4. You may only be at the point of the game where you only have 1, but these garages is where you're going to house your troops, and then you can do that essentially also. So you control your squad, your formations. If you set it here, it'll be set in arena. It sets it everywhere except for defense in arena. If you click on that, you can actually change how you're defending, even if your squads are differently on this aspect. Let me grab these free gems real quick. Then you're going to have your resource buildings. Y'all, your resource buildings is going to be like your gold, your iron, your bread, your EXPs. These are things that are going to be extremely important, but don't overspend, because I've got a lot of these are still only at like level 19, level 20, except for my ore, my smelters. I am pushing to try to get all of these up toward 30, because ore is a super difficult thing to get sometimes in the game, and it's always essential. So I try to boost that as much as possible. But essentially that's what these buildings are for. Early on, push them. It's hard until you get into where you're pushing into those higher level base HQs, because the cost of upgrading bases and buildings, those heavier buildings, it's a lot harder to keep maintaining the upgrades on this. So don't stress too much on the farmlands. You're going to get those resources no matter what. Then you're going to have your Alliance Center, which I think is right here. Essentially, Alliance Center is basically helps you reduce your timers and your speed up growth. It's actually right here, Alliance Support Hub. So like help time, speed ups, all that kind of stuff. This is a really good building to boost up. Don't over invest, I would say, in that kind of stuff at first. Get them up to that level 20 range or so, like most of mine are going to be. And then you can, just kind of boost it up later. Once you get your HQ to level 30 and you get your T10s, you have a lot more ability to kind of go back and start to push some of these buildings up. And it's a slow game, y'all. Even whales don't have their buildings maxed out like that. I know you may think they do, but they're not. They're being very strategic. We all have a game plan. So figure out what works best for you and do that. Your embassy, critical reinforcements, zombie siege, capital, war zone, all of that kind of stuff. You have your calendar over here that you can utilize. Kind of shows you what progress you're at. We're on day 119 in our server. You have this to-do list. Y'all, this little clock right here. I can't tell you how many times I have people that'll reach out and be like, Frost, do we have Marshall today? Do we have this today? This tool is something you should check every single day. It'll tell you the lines train. It'll remind you. You can actually set a reminder here, remind 10 minutes before a start. It also works good for your buffs. If you're doing capital buffs and you suck like I do at remembering when your buff time is, you can set that and have a notification send you on your phone. That way you can log in and not miss your buffs. It's just great ways of doing that. Then you have your wall. Y'all, your wall is extremely important for PvP play. It's all you set your defenses. This is a very good thing to do if you're battling, and you're around a lot of players that are a lot smaller than you. You can set your defenses up, and you can just let them and watch them burn and bounce off of you. However, when you're in war and you're in battle and you're fighting somebody of equal power, you definitely want to make sure you take these troops off, because they're gonna dig into your troop counts. You're gonna dig into theirs too, but it's just not worth it in the long run. If you ash out a little bit, you lose a lot less than if you have your troops on the wall. Wall is really good on defense. If you click on it, you can actually see. Let me click on the upgrade. My current sits, it gives you 10,000 durability, power. Everything that you do, every building you upgrade accommodates your power levels. All of this, drones, everything, all of that makes a huge difference. Then you have decorations. Y'all, decoration gallery is slept on. These deco boxes you can get in trains and throughout different events and stuff. They are crucial in building power. You get crit damage, attack damages, and it just kind of keeps progressing over and over and over in those aspects. So those are really important things that you would need to constantly be trying to get. And then we go over here to the drone. Drone is probably one of the strongest power systems. Definitely going to be doing a video just on drones. But essentially your drone is like a secondary weapon that comes in. It takes damage. It deals damage. It is an extremely important aspect of this game if you want to build power. And then of course you have your hero building. So if you click right over here in your recruitment building, it kind of supports your account. Heroes helps with that as far as being able to spend your recruitment tickets and recruit all of those different things, recruit survivors. You also have your survivor list. Your survivor building, a lot of people don't realize this, but you need to be upgrading these survivors, and they actually help tremendously in gathering in different areas and aspects of the game. So you definitely want to be utilizing your survivors and all. I did get 5-star Shirley and Taylor. They does cost money for that, but I find it pretty important to be able to do that if you can. If you can't, obviously play within your means. I can't stress that enough. We don't want to do that. The big picture here, y'all, is all of these buildings work together. Your headquarters, the research, the heroes, the drones, the troops, the gears. This is like, consider your base one huge system. Okay, these systems matter. these systems, work in tangent. And it's important for you to understand that all of this increases your overall strength and power. You have your recon plane. That's just kind of how fast you can scout and things of that nature. Your alert towers gives you the honorable campaign. If you're not working this, if you didn't know this existed, you're missing a ton of resources. You also, of course, have your line store. And then you see these three right here. These are your tank center, your aircraft center, and your missile center. These are extremely important. You definitely need to be keeping up with these as you're building your squads. They help tremendously in power. And then also it's where you will contact your wall of honor once you 5-star all of your heroes. But essentially you can see like the power increase from 28 to 29. Good substantial little increase. Now I know that these aren't like major increases, but y'all, I'm telling you, every little bit adds up. Okay, so if you get 1,000 power from this building, 1,000 power from that building, 1,000 power from this building, all of those things add up, and before you know it, you're going to see these marches are going to start to increase and increase and increase, and you're probably sitting back like, man, I got 5-star heroes. Why is my march only 15 mil while theirs are 23 and so on? It's because we have upgraded our drones. It's because our tank center's there. It's because our research is right, and we're actually building research based off of our needs, our goals. That's why I say that it's such an important aspect. Drill grounds, y'all, these are also really important. I like to have one drill ground at 30, and then the other two I try to get at least to 20, and then I will just kind of slowly move them up as I can. But I don't want to just go crazy on resources in that sense, because, I mean, you're going to need the resources for all those different things. Remember, y'all, this is a military game. Headquarters is the brain. Research is the science. Barracks are boot camp. Garage is the motor pool. Hospitals are your field hospital. Alliance Center is the communications. Embassy is the Allied command. Walls are your fortresses. All of this plays a factor in what we are building. It is a military game. And, military is all about structure and discipline. And if you come in without a game plan, you're not disciplined, you're not ready, you are going to suffer in this game. Why? Because it was designed to mimic a military, setup. So the more organized you are, the more disciplined you are, the stronger you're going to be in every way. I think I've hit on most of the important things. You do have like your trucks over here. These are things where you're going to plunder your different trucks, and you definitely need to do all 4 of those every day. Send out your trucks, and then you got, of course, your secret command post. This is where you're going to do your secret tasks. Huge rewards there. Hidden treasure. I save mine up. Some people spend them as they get them. Doesn't matter. It's really, as long as you don't let them expire. If they ever do expire, you won't have any issues there. But yeah, and then all of these back here, all of these on this back line, these are the decorations that actually go along with the decoration index. And like I said, you need to learn where your stuff is on your base. Set it up in a way that makes sense to you. Copy mine if you want to. I don't care. But essentially that's what you're looking at. Y'all, I hope this video has really helped you kind of understand your base from maybe a different perspective. Understanding that it's not just random buildings that you're upgrading. Everything has a purpose. So make sure that you're researching, you're figuring out why this building does this. Click on the buildings, click on the upgrades, see what it says, click on the building, click on this, see what each little thing does for you, takes you, all this kind of stuff, and really get a good feel of what direction you're moving in, and fit that all into your plan. So y'all, the Frost Pro tip for the day: never upgrade a building just because you can. Remember, upgrading It has to have purpose. Upgrade it because it moves your account closer to your goal. You want to point everything in the right direction. So make sure that you're not just idly upgrading just because you can. I could easily click this right here and I could do this and I could spend this money or in food. But I might need that for something that actually fits more into my goal. So that's the definite pro tip for the day. Y'all, my challenge to you this week, as you watch this video, open every building in your base, read its description, Google it. You might actually discover that there's a hidden mechanic in the game that you didn't even realize. There might be lost power that you haven't even fully started yet. And another thing, since I said power, these drone chips, chip labs, all these different things, we'll have a video that's going to break those down. But definitely take time, organize your base. That is a huge step. Get organized, and I promise you're going to start seeing your plan unfold a lot better as you start learning all of the different mechanics in the game. Y'all, until next time, you already know, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, stay frosty.